Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's August 28th, 2016. One of the top headlines: two men have been arrested in the killing of Dwayne Wade's cousin. In case you missed the video I put out the day of the reported death, I will link it in the description. In this video, I show that the killing of Dwayne Wade's cousin is one of two things. It's either a ritual sacrifice for his NBA career. If you don't follow the NBA, Dwayne Wade was born in Chicago. He's played 13 years for the Miami Heat. In his 14th season, he's returned to play for the Chicago Bulls, his home city. And now in the offseason which he signed, his cousin is supposedly killed in Chicago, his home city. So, this shooting, it's either a ritual sacrifice for his career, or it's a completely fictitious story made up to be part of the ongoing gun control agenda, false flag shooting agenda, which is not uncommon to Chicago. There's been numerous false flag shootings in Chicago that have been national headlines that are part of this propaganda, part of this ongoing agenda. If you missed this video, I talked about the significance of Dwayne Wade's gun control speech on July 13th at the ESPYs. Also, the day of the shooting, earlier in the day with First Take ESPN, he was participating in talking about gun violence and homicides and the homicide rate in Chicago. Later in the same day, it's reported that his cousin was killed. So now, they say two young black men are to blame. And I predicted this in the video because when Dwayne Wade spoke at the ESPYs, what was he wearing? Black on black suit, all black. And now we have a black on black shooting. What you should know in case you missed the video and don't have time to watch it in the description is the name Nakia Aldridge in Gematria sums to 71. The upcoming NBA season will be the 71st season of the NBA. And it starts on a date with 71 numerology, October 25th, 2016. So now let's see what's so suspicious about these brothers. They're saying it's brothers who are blamed for the shooting. One 26, the other 22. It's no coincidence that they tell us it's brothers because it's part of the racial coding behind this psychological operations, whether it's a ritual sacrifice or a completely fictitious story. If a woman really was killed and these men are responsible, they were put up to it by the gang of Freemasons and Zionists who run this nation, who run the government, who run the police, who run the city of Chicago. Chicago's the Zionist Jewish Masonic Mecca. Look at this coding. The word boy equals 42. Think about how, derogatory way to talk to black men, call them boy. Brothers, people commonly refer to the black people as the brothers. Brothers 42, the most hateful word for black people, 42. February equals 42, Black History Month. It is the Freemasons and the Zionist Jews who've built our language, who've built our calendar, who've built our culture, who've given us the words of hate. The Freemasons believe in divide and conquer in order through chaos. Freemason and Zionism both sum to 42. So does the word history. It's the victors who write the history books. Those are the Freemasons in this world. The woman killed, her last name alone sums to 42. We're talking about Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade equals 42. Former teammate of LeBron James, one of many black superstars with 42 coded onto their name. And yes, this is the reason Jackie Robinson wore 42. Of course, we're talking about gun violence. The word gun has 42 gematria as well. Let's read this reporting and then let's talk about the brothers further. Chicago police have arrested two men in connection with the death of NBA star Dwayne Wade's cousin Nakia Aldridge. Brothers Darwin Sorrells Jr., 26, and Darren Sorrells, 22, have each been charged with first-degree murder and first-degree attempted murder, police said Sunday. Darwin Sorrells has been charged with a count of criminal trespass, a misdemeanor. Darren Sorrells is a documented member of the Gangster Disciples and was out on parole, Chicago police spokesman Anthony Guglielm said in Twitter. Darwin Sorrells was also on parole on a gun charge. He had been sentenced for 6 years in January 2013, but was released early, Guglielm said. The year 2013 has an independent numerology where you add the first two numbers to the second two numbers, 20 plus 13. That sums to 33. I don't think it's any coincidence they used that year because both the names Darwin and Darwin in gematria, some to 33. Think about Darwin, survival of the fittest. 33 is the number that shows up again and again in these shootings. They said this woman was shot at 3:30 in the afternoon, 3:30. The report comes from the police 33, race war 33, Black Lives 33, Masonry 33, secrecy 33. Black Lives Matter is a controlled opposition group. It was created for part of this agenda. We've now seen our government debating if they're a terrorist organization, and bills have been passed saying that police need to militarize to protect themselves from Black Lives Matter. This is all the ongoing narrative working against us day by day as they build the police state around us. The brothers' initials, D and D, that's the fourth letter. 4 and 4 is a lot like 44, kills 44, shootings 44, cooks 44. Cook County, where this happened, Cook County, CC 33. Here's their names in gematria, written out. Darwin Sorrells, gematria of 70, 79, and 88. The 79 stands out because murder equals 79. They're up for a murder charge. His brother's name, the same gematria. Their last names, Sorrells, has the same gematria as Chicago, 37 and 46. Darwin Sorrells sums to 187, the homicide code, 187. In the video I did showing Dwayne Wade's mother's name, who spoke, who was ready for the press conference the day of the killing of the cousin, her name equaled 187. Talked about this number. Now it's coded into the killer. Shows up again and again in false flag shootings. They said that they were a member of Gangster Disciples, gematria of 187 and 79, homicide code and murder. Numbers that show up again and again. And when you think about Chicago, you think about gangsters. Gangster equals 37, Chicago equals 37. The real gangsters of this world are the Jewish Freemasons in high places. That's why in almost every gangster movie you get, which come from Jewish film studios, who do the Italian mobsters go to at the end in almost all of these gangster flicks? You know, they go to Jews. It's Jews always behind the gangsters. It's always the same in these movies. And it's not a coincidence that Chicago is the history of so many gangsters, because all throughout history, all these gangster names, you know, Al Capone and the rest of them, they were all fronts for the Masonic Jewish mafia that runs this nation, who are the real tyrants. All throughout history, these people have created Patsies, you know, names that people associate with being the gangsters when really they're just the fronts. Old practices. The article says she was shot in front of the Doles School of Excellence. That's not coincidence either. Assassin 101, Doles School of Excellence 101, Chicago, Sacrifice, Doles School, all matching gematria. Remember, crossfire equals the exact same thing as Chicago Bulls. The story is she was shot with crossfire in a crosswalk pushing a stroller. So again, you know, these stories are all the same, coded propaganda by the numbers, the same numbers used again and again. They're all part of creating racial stereotypes. You know, the ignoramus who watches the TV and believes what they say on it. Remember, believe equals 33 with a lie right in the middle. The average ignoramus who's been programmed by their TV. You know, so many people in this nation say my age, approaching death, from my age to approaching death. They've been programmed again and again by the television, by mainstream media, that black people are dangerous, they're homicidal, they're rapists, they're killers. They need to be confined in their own communities where they can kill themselves. These stories reinforce it. And people like Dwayne Wade, you know, they go out and help sell the narrative for their own greed, for their own gain, for their own fame, to maintain their gluttonous contracts. And sadly, the American sheeple continue to worship these people, watch these rigged sports, dedicate their time, energy, and money. Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, the stars of the professional sports world, they are the biggest scum among us. They all know that they participate in these rigged sports leagues. They're paid liars, they're sellouts to humanity, and that's why they're used again and again in false flag propaganda. Think about how LeBron James started the whole hoodie movement with Trayvon Martin. TM, the initials for Trayvon Martin, 20 plus 13, 33. Who's his killer? GZ, George Zimmerman, 7 plus 26 for G and Z, 33. What day was Trayvon Martin buried? 3/3, March 3rd, the anniversary date of the beating of Rodney King by the LAPD. What's LAPD equal? The same thing as KKK, 33. All throughout history, mainstream media, Zionist Jew programming, getting people to fight amongst race, religion, hate each other over lies, made up propaganda, and all the meanwhile using the same media to say that you can never speak against the Jew. The Jew. You know who runs Chicago? The Jew, Rahm Emanuel, who's born on the anniversary date that the Zionist nation, the synagogue of Satan, was recognized. And he presides over Chicago. Let me show you why Rahm Emanuel is your mayor in Chicago, the Zionist Jew scum. Rahm Emanuel in English gematria, 666, number of prophecy. The Zionist Jews go by the man-made prophecy they create each day with their propaganda by the numbers. Look at his date of birth, a date with 118 numerology. A date with 64 numerology, connecting to Israel, Zion, Thelema, synagogue of Satan, do what thou wilt. Birth numerology of 37, connecting to Israel and Chicago. And even birth numerology of 99, connecting to Illinois and 13. Talk about born to be. This guy speaking out in a lot of these false flag shootings as well, you know. All the young men in this world all charged up with hate. What you need to do with your hate is you need to educate yourself and channel your hatred towards something productive. And what really needs to happen in this nation is we, the sane people who are awake, need to band together and truly declare war against the Zionist Jew and get them the fuck out of this country. Make sure they're never in the media again. Make sure they never hold office in a single city again. Anybody who disagrees with my words is an enemy. An enemy of sanity, an enemy of reason, an enemy of justice. The Zionist Jew is the filth of this world. They are responsible for all of this media programming. They run our media, they run our government, they run this propaganda by the numbers every day, and it's so transparent. There needs to be a war, you know? We, the people, need to declare war against the real enemy of this world. There's enough guns in this nation. There's enough bullets to rid these people out in 48 hours if we work together. Almost all of them are in Chicago and New York. Can run them out of those cities. No time flat. Till next time, truce.